Thank y'all again for tuning in to another episode of Soul Purpose Farm. I'm Aaron.
It's big.
Well,
Hey, before we even got on the call, man, and start recording, me and Quiz have some good conversations. Just, you know what I'm saying, the atmosphere, what's going on, you know what I'm saying, especially in the collegiate atmosphere right now. I guess it's a lot of homecomings going on. Quiz was bringing up a lot of good points. Like, go ahead and share what you were telling me, Quiz, like what you was thinking about what was going on this weekend.
man, it was a lot of foolery going on this weekend.
Where?
It was probably a lot of folks turned out their mind.
Where?
Man, look, they had the Boombox Classic going on this weekend.
Oh.
And you had Auntie Homecoming.
That's who. Let's
not forget Ricky in the Magic City Classic.
Oh, Lord.
And then the boys down in Florida, fam, you homecoming.
I think you missed one.
What'd you say?
I think you missed one. I think Carolina.
What you talking about?
Carolina.
You talking about Auntie?
Yeah.
I thought I said Auntie.
Auntie
Homecoming.
Okay.
You said Auntie.
There was a whole lot of baby making going on this weekend.
That was fantastic four right there, man.
Boy, I know them folks went up.
Vic, did you see the assistant mayor of Birmingham?
Y'all talking about Ricky?
Yes, and that boy Chris.
No, I do not watch them.
No, we do watch them. We do watch them. He supports us.
We do watch them.
Yeah.
We do watch them.
Yeah, he supports us.
Maybe I just didn't catch this weekend's festivities.
Yes, I got to show you the video where they had Ricky, Big Chris, and the mayor of Birmingham on the stage.
No, I didn't catch this weekend's festivities.
Hey, the news.
Look, when you see it, you gonna catch on. You're like, oh my goodness, this boy Chris out his mind.
Oh my God!
I just want to say, roll tide, roll, baby.
When you see it, you're like, man, Chris out his mind, man. But anyway, man, I know you didn't. I know you didn't have an exciting week, Vic. So tell the people what you've been having going on this past week.
I was down in Indianapolis for National Convention for FFA.
Hold on. What is FFA? Like you just jumped off the porch and talking about like people know what FFA is.
The Future Farmers of America.
Can you give a little historical context?
Yeah, it was originally called the NFA, New Farmers of America, organization that fostered agriculture amongst African American men. And then they call it a merge, but it was a takeover from our counterparts, took over the organization. And it became Future Farmers of America. And from there, I mean, they turned into a mothership. I can't even take away from what them folks done built. But this weekend, it was crazy. It was 68,000 plus people that attended the conference. And they had a lot of, in fact, my student who I've been talking about, he actually made national president. So I'm super proud of Andy. Shout out to Andy.
He's the national president for FFA? He's the national president for FFA?
Yep. And he was so nervous. His mom came to the booth, to the Virginia Tech booth, and he came to the booth with his dad. And I told him, I was like, Andy, this is the most relaxed you done looked in the past 2 months. Because after every class, he was coming and reporting to myself and Logan about how just the process, because it's a lot. The interview process is like 12 days, back-to-back interviews, like facilitating workshops. It's a crazy process. So when you make it to a national position, it's only 6. The semester, because you got to get your American degree. It's an interesting process. When you go through FFA, you go through these different competitions from like state to regional. You trying to get your American degree, which qualifies you to be able to go for a national position, one of the 6. And so most of them are for freshmen or sophomores. And So he'll finish off this semester, all of them will, and then they'll take 365 days off to travel. So they get a leave from school to do this 365 tour, and then they'll plan for next year's national convention.
Wow.
Yeah, so he made it, and I'm proud of him. I'm very proud of him. He's a good kid, and he has a different take on he has a different personality than what the traditional national member would be. Like somebody that's real extroverted, that's they you know, they not popular, but they personality is real bubbly. And his mom made a good point when they did the cuts for the 20 students to make it, because there's like 800 of them that went for national, the 6 positions. And when they did the cut, instead of going to connect with the people that that won, you know, they got to the last step, he went and checked on the people that didn't get. And you know, that speaks a lot about your character, you know what I'm saying? So I'm proud of Andy. It was a good experience of being over there. It was a lot going on. But it was a good experience. It was a good experience.
And I'm glad you was able to do that. Matter of fact, first foremost, shout out to Andy. Never met you, but
Yeah,
man.
shout out to Andy, man.
Yeah, look here. If you in Vic's shoes, man, you found it, man. I promise you, you found it, man.
Yeah.
So, congratulations, though, because I know that's something big. So, other than that, Vic, can you just highlight something like far as like this your first time at a national FFA convention? Like, break it down like far like what it felt like to be in the facility and what you saw, likes, dislikes. You know what I'm saying? Do you plan on going back next year? Can you explain that a little bit more?
Yeah. You know, I was reporting back to the headquarters the whole time of what was going on, but it was a lot. It, like I said, it's like manners times 10. The conference, just a big conference that, you know what I'm saying, we be talking about how we come from Crim, and I think about the conversation that I done had with people that are like, yeah, you know, make sure that, you know, just keep your head, you know, be cautious about interacting with people, and you know, this is a very white space. And I'm just like, y'all telling me stuff that I already know. Like, you know what I'm saying? I always say you got to experience things for yourself. And I'm glad that I had that mindset, because if I would have went in with this guard up of like, it's a real white space and these people, they some racist, man, you know what I'm saying? Because it's a real ag space. Like, a lot of those kids, their parents are senators, or a lot of those kids, their parents are CEOs of big ag companies, or they own, you know, acres and thousands of acres of farmland, and have, you know, raised up on these you know, just different ag operations, from industry to government to like boots on the ground production. It was all in the building. And so coming from South Carolina State, I didn't have that one. Also coming from Atlanta, we didn't see that growing up. And somebody had asked me when I was there, like, yeah, what type of 4-H were you doing? And I was like, shoot, it was leadership. I grew up in the city of Atlanta. Like, we ain't have, you know what I'm saying? We was not traditional. You know what I'm saying? Like, we was doing straight leadership development.
Yeah.
And so thinking about that, I truly appreciated being in that space, because it was all things agriculture. I mean, you know what I'm saying? I sent y'all from welding. They had the whole welding machine out there. They had welding simulators. They had the big 18-wheeler trucks pulled in the inside, like 18-wheeler truck simulators where you can go in, and Wrangler was out there doing custom jackets. I mean, it was a whole it was, they had the dance floor in there. They had the DJ. They had Hall of Fame states where the kids came up with these crazy booths, and like each state, they did the state based, you know, they did their booth based on the state. Georgia was out there, South Carolina was out there. Not all the states did a booth, but it was just like the Hall of States. So the states that really had big impact on FFA. What else is something out there that blew my mind? Oh, they had the big old thing where they had the bull out there, but then they had the thing that twirl.
The mechanical bull. The
I can't
mechanical bull.
It wasn't even a mechanic. It was some old exotic shit that I ain't never seen at a conference.
Oh my Lord.
And they had the kids on that. What else they had? They had the big they had the big they had the freight container. You know, I sent y'all that, the freight container
With the vertical farms.
with the vertical farm,
Yeah,
and
vertical
they had
farm,
sustainable farming systems. What else they had? They had something else. They had a lot of things. Oh, they had the old fly ass cars out there. I mean, it was like they had slick car and bike show. Like, I'm not lying. Now that I forgot to send y'all, they had like a low sitting Chevy truck. They had the Chrysler out there that was decked out, swooped up, and then they had another fly ass car. I'm like, oh, this is a whole extravaganza. Then on the other side, they had a shopping mall. So they had they had boots, they had ropes that, you know what I'm saying, like the ropes where you learn how to rope the cow.
Yeah, the lasso.
Custom ropes. They had custom showing sticks where you show your livestock. Them kids was walking around with that. They had custom hats. Guess how much I was trying to get me a hat for Halloween? Lowest hat $275, but them kids was buying them. And then they had, aside from the expo shop, they had a whole FFA expo shop, like crazy, customized Carhartts with all the stuff on it. I mean, it was a lot. But my favorite would have to be being in some of those competitions and learning some of those competitions and being able to judge a competition. Because I never seen that, like at that level where they had them kids really prepping and getting ready for them. I mean, like I was telling Aaron, they had parliamentary procedures where you had 15 minutes to make a motion on this parliamentary procedure, and you had to go through every step of the parliamentary procedure. Amend it, make a motion, do this, do that, do all the things in the proper structure in 15 minutes. And then what I judged was the debate. So that was the whole thing, because I ain't understand nothing on it. I mean, the rubric was out of this world, but you know what I'm saying, it was a good experience. Or they had competitions like, of course, like meat judging or dairy judging, or like field competitions where they went all the way out, like did field competitions with forestry. So maybe grading timber, or they may grade soil, or, you know, like these were all different competitions. It was crazy. It was a lot, and I appreciated the experience.
And I think you missed out on one part that you didn't share with the audience. How many people were out there, approximately?
Oh, I said 68,000 plus.
68,000.
68,000. I mean, they had the Cowboy Station radio station out there broadcasting the entire thing. Then they had the setup inside, because everything was happening between the convention center and Lucas Oil Stadium.
Who plays at Lucas Oil Stadium? The Indianapolis Colts.
The Indianapolis Colts, right? They play there. And the reason why they moved it there, guess what? Because them folks was packing out the Pacers Stadium. So they had to move everything to the Lucas Oil Stadium.
Boy.
So at the Lucas Oil Stadium, you know, I was telling y'all, at the Lucas Oil Stadium, they had the Wrangler and the Ariat and the Cowboy channels out there broadcasting like it was game day. Like they had the whole gamut out there like it was game day the whole week. I mean, it was crazy. It was crazy.
This one thing I want to
like they had but Ted Turner out there.
Oh, Ted probably had some undercover.
He had some people out there.
Oh, yeah.
The senators' kids was the senators. I mean, I'm not talking about one. Multiple senators' kids was out there. Multiple CEOs was out there.
I wasn't gonna be funny, but I ain't gonna say what I was about to say, because I don't think that's appropriate to say.
What was you gonna say?
Some very that didn't belong being said. I would go say a potential senator kid out there, but I ain't gonna say his name because we don't want to get disbarred.
Boy.
I'm just gonna say Mr. Gresham Road.
Boy.
Oh yeah, I forgot Vic from the West Side, so they're 34.
Boy.
I'm not picking up what you putting down.
Okay. I'm gonna have to make it a little more clear for you. But yeah, we're not gonna say his name. But but I'm just, you know what I'm saying? Like, even though I wasn't there, I remember being watching TV one day, and I used to watch RFD TV every morning just to catch up on the futures market as far as like what's going on in the commodities market in the agriculture realm. And then it was just so much press and so much advertising to my FFA convention, and the fact that seeing that you was able to go out there and see what's going on with it, man, that's crazy, man. Like you were first, like you the first one from my school that ever then went there that I know of.
First from Prim.
Like they don't know how big that is for us just to have you up in the building, you know what I'm saying? And then you was in a position of power, essentially, because you was out there as an exhibitor, you know what I'm saying, recruiting, getting people, you know what I'm saying, interested in coming to Virginia Tech on an undergraduate level and graduate level. So, you know, I take my hat off to you as far as being a pioneer. Yeah. Oh, she doesn't acknowledge that.
Oh, I do not.
Yeah, we both took our hat off, you know. We
no, she doesn't acknowledge that.
But you know, I'm proud of you for making that move, and just, you know what I'm saying, you coming from a different place and the same place that we coming from, just acknowledge saying, hey, dang, it's some amazing stuff going on here. Even though I don't see myself being directly involved, I still want to know what's going on. So when you engage in these conversations, you can say, hey, yeah, I remember going out there and seeing such, because think about it, that even though if you're not into the ag space, I do believe, you know what I'm saying, everybody needs to know a little something about that, because that's still the traditional part, you know what I'm saying? There's a mega piece as far as like, when we talking about like recruiting and retention, get into the ag space, like that's recruitment and retention at itself, like far like being in the ag space. Even if them kids never go to get a formal education after high school, they are set because they didn't gain so many skills, and more than the skills, they didn't gain relationships to gain the skills.
Yeah.
And I'll say this, how powerful it is. In order to make changes in their constitution, I think, don't quote me, in their constitution or just their procedures, they have to go through the Senate.
Oh, that's totally different.
It's a different level.
In order to make changes in that body of governance, they have to go through the Senate. So yeah, it's just it's an interesting organization, big organization, that they are really preparing these kids for the future of agriculture.
Yeah, they living what they saying. They stand on business.
Oh yeah, they doing that for sure. And man, look, I ain't heard about no FFA till I got to college. You know what I'm saying? So just to see kids on that level be exposed to something like that, well, you can't ain't nothing you can pay for that.
Yeah.
You know, you can pay for that. That's big, boy. That's big. Salute to you, Vic.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie to that. Like, I got a little teared up this week looking at that stuff. You know what I'm saying? Because like how good the God that we serve, putting us in positions to, you know what I'm saying, to even experience stuff like that. Because we wasn't getting these kind of opportunities, and I'm not even talking about far the college level. You get what I'm saying? Like you mentioned Arabian Mountain. So we, University of Georgia, you know what I'm saying, we helped charter, you know what I'm saying, that school at Arabian Mountain. They have an FFA chapter, which you saw this past week. That wasn't even a school when we was in high school, number one.
No.
And there's no FFA chapters in metropolitan Atlanta. So when you're getting back talking about the 4-H piece, that was probably one of the only prominent ways to even be a little bit knowledgeable about what the agriculture field is about. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't. I was just lucky enough to have 2 great extension agents. One is go ahead.
Most people didn't get that experience in 4-H. You know, like most people didn't even get that experience in 4-H. So Man, that's huge, man. That's huge. Like you saying, man, a Rapey Mountain right up the street from where my mom stayed at. And that school wasn't no thing when we was in school. So for them to have an FFA chapter, that's big. And just put them kids in space where they can see stuff like that and expose stuff like that. Man, look, there's kids in colleges that ain't even getting that exposure.
Oh man, and think about it. I want to open up the floor to both of y'all as far as like, well, to all of us. What do y'all think could be a potential way that we can get push, you know what I'm saying, agriculture in the communities that we grew up in, as far as like let them know about the different opportunities. Not saying okay, you got to be a farmer with just general opportunities, is like how you experienced this past weekend, but
You saying like what you
I'm
mean
just like just saying like for like just expose them to different things like, or man, let me rephrase it. What impact do you think it would have had, like if you go into FFA? Imagine if you was in FFA growing up. What kind of impact do you think it would have had on your life growing up?
I think it would have had a big
Programs like that.
yeah, I think it would have had a big impact. I think the other piece too that I do want to highlight that I think it just goes back to just the black community in general. It was so many parents out there. It was so many parents. I mean, whether the kid was in a competition or it was just a lot of parent support that I don't think I've seen in unfortunately just in the black community. But you got to think about the structure of the household. Like parents just can't take off to go to a 4 or 5 day conference with their child's school.
No.
You know what I'm saying? It's just it's impossible. But going back to your question, it would have made a great impact. Now, according to other people that I know that have been to the conference that are adults now that have been through that, especially some brown folks or people of minority, you know, of that who consider themselves minority, they didn't have some of those good experiences.
But hold on, pause right there. But are they still in the ag field though?
They are very much still in the ag field, but this and that's the thing that I try to articulate is that, man, the thing, we gonna always have crazy experiences. I done had some crazy experiences being in ag or being in predominantly white spaces, as well as I'm sure y'all done had some interactions, you know, just being in these spaces. And I look at them just like, this just what this shit come with.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Whereas those people, they like, shoot, I just want to disassociate because the system is messed up, and you know what I'm saying, I understand it. But the thing is, like, we never gonna be playing that game. You got to find your lane in this thing. And I think too, a part of it is just the passion that I have for it, and I understand what it come with, and I appreciate it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So for me personally, I think it would have had a huge impact on me personally. Yeah, and I think if we go ahead.
No, finish up what you about to say.
No, I was just gonna say, and I think if we had more support from just like, and I was making this a thing too. You see a lot of ag educators, most of them are predominantly white. Let's just be honest about it. Mm-hmm. But they also, whether they had an FFA experience or not, they had an ag experience, or they had someone that said, hey, go get certified in ag education. You know what I'm saying? You're going to get more money. They had the guidance, the mentorship, the leadership to say, this is where you need to go. Either they grew up in the ag space, or they grew up in FFA, which tied into the ag space. You know what I'm saying? Ag education. So in some shape, form, or fashion, a lot of the FFA, a lot of the ag ed people that you see now that are educators, they had some kind of recollection from it because they were part of it. And I tried to explain this to a friend. I'm like, look at the statistics of and he was like, well, research tells us that the student, like the teacher, and their background and racial identity has nothing to do with the body of students that you have in your class and what their racial identity is. And I said, bumper research, let's call it what it is. Yeah. You have majority white ag ed teachers that clearly, you know what I'm saying, have come from ag backgrounds where you don't see that many Black ag educators. Come on.
No.
You
You
know
don't
what
see
I'm
that
saying?
many educators, period. If you wanna just be real all the way G about it. Cause I mean, even in our schools, me and Aaron had conversations about this millions of times. Like people at our universities, crim, they complain all the time about, oh, I got this foreign professor, I can't understand what they're saying. Oh, I got this foreign professor, they don't understand what I'm saying, or there's a disconnect. And a lot of that got to do with us just not coming back to the universities or being educators in our space.
Right.
So I mean, just piggybacking off what you're saying, Vic, I totally agree. I feel like if we had more support in our communities, not just in that space, but just in, you know, an academic space or in a space where people people are, you know, learning about this stuff way earlier than they should, I feel like, man, it'll do us a lot better in the future. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because like you said, these people learn about this stuff as children, you know what I'm saying? So when they get to college, you know what I'm saying, or even if they don't go to college, if they're going into the industry, they already got somewhat of an idea of what they got going on within that space, whereas we don't have that. And
Yeah.
if we do, it's very little. Like you're
Right.
saying, we got one FFA chapter in Metro Atlanta.
And guess what they working on? Which it don't is nothing wrong with it, but their focus is on sustainable farming systems. So hydroponics, aeroponics, tower gardens, all those things, which is fine because they're looking at agriculture systems or practices in agriculture that relate to their specific area where they live. It just makes sense.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They not focused on, you know, I had one girl come up to me. She was like, yeah, I grew up on it. And she's in high school. Yeah, I grew up on a Black Angus farm. And she want to go to animal science. You know what I'm saying? But, and that was just one kid out of, I don't know how many, you know, thousands and thousands of kids, but it's interesting to, I mean, even down to, like I said, even down to the preparation, the confidence that those kids have to stand up and talk statistics, talk about issues in ag, talk about disabilities and all these policies related to agriculture. You in 9th, 10th grade speaking so articulately because you were trained in this way to do so, which is going to set you up when you go interview for college, when you go interview for scholarships and for jobs and all these things. I understand this big piece of DI and all of that, but if we could transfer that over, or I don't know, it's just a lot. I don't know if it's a matter of getting us, you know, more knowledgeable on being ag educators, even if you don't come from ag, because you got to get certified anyway. And if they throw, hey, I need you to teach equine breeding science class, you got to do that.
Mm-hmm. But I want to throw a quick wrench in it, you know what I'm saying, looking past even the ag lens, starting before that. Like, I wonder how many of those students and youth come from two-parent family backgrounds. You get what I'm saying? Like, going even on a deeper level. You get what I'm saying? Like, all three of us, you know what I'm saying, we were raised by our mothers. So with them, they got all kind of support. You know what I'm saying? Not saying we didn't have support, we had some kind of support to get here. But just, you know what I'm saying, what the family dynamic looks like within the household, then incorporating family along with business as well, and how you can grow from there. You know what I'm saying? Like, you going to school, okay, cool. You might do this, but shoot, at the same time, you still see value in what we already been producing, so you can keep on continuing on. Like, it's really past like generational wealth. It's really sustaining and growing, well, vertically integrating the business within the household.
Yeah. And that's real. I agree, because if you look at it from the stance, like you saying, like, man, most of us was raised by single parents, you know what I'm saying? So when it comes to what extracurricular activities they gonna be involved with or what they can attend with you, it's like, man, it's only so much they can do. It's easy for them to drop you off at the park and say, I'll pick you up in 30 minutes. You know what I'm saying? Versus going to Indianapolis with you, spending the whole weekend with you, coming back, you know what I'm saying, making sure you chaperoning for other kids, you know what I'm saying, stuff like that. that's totally different. You know what I'm saying? And we ain't even gonna get into that because my mom ain't even had that. Like, look, you ain't playing park ball this year because we ain't got it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But you can go, you know what I'm saying? It's easy for her to go, say, hey, I got $12. You can go get you some sticks. You know what I'm saying? Or you can go get this or that. So just having that support, man, and seeing it like that, man, it's like, look, we got to start with ourselves as a community. We got to start with ourselves as a community, and like you said, Vic, not just ag education, but we also just got to, you know what I'm saying, educate ourselves as a community, and just, you know what I'm saying, make sure we hold the household accountable for what's going on, you know what I'm saying, before we even get to education.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So, any closing remarks before we end up going? Because I ain't gonna lie, this is a great conversation, man. Great conversation.
It is a great conversation. I don't know. I don't know when it comes, no, because I'm just thinking about spreading awareness and thinking about how to get, there has to be a way to get more of us involved in that space. And I'm only saying that because like I said, I wasn't in the traditional ag ed space. I didn't teach K through 12 in a formal setting. You know what I'm saying? I feel like I did that in an informal setting with 4-H, but not like this. This is very different. And when it comes to access and all those things, it's a whole system that's a part of that, because one, you got to have the structure set up at the school to say, hey, we're going to have 1 or 2 ag classes. So, you know what I'm saying? I think it goes beyond what we're talking about in some ways, and we can still have conversations about that at a later date, but it's just it's a big system, and it's a lot of different pieces to it. But shoot, it's like that's what runs ag for real.
Yeah.
So,
And I'm leave on this note. I'm just glad we actually doing this and using this platform to spread agricultural awareness to our community, because I feel like, you know, how we saying right now, this type of stuff starts with us. You know what I'm saying? If we get out here and we make sure, you know what I'm saying, we spreading the word and we reaching back to the youth and stuff like that, that's one, you know what I'm saying, that's one step in the right direction there. So, man, hey, salute all of us for keeping this going, man. And salute both of y'all for being in the spaces that y'all are in and spreading agricultural awareness.
I appreciate both of y'all, man. And so we'll see y'all next week. And thank y'all again for tuning in. Like, comment, and subscribe. We'll see y'all next week. Peace.